Yes, what you're seeing right now is Dubai. But it's not just this. After 1+ year of living here, I can tell you the truth. Dubai will either turn you into a machine or it will make you miss trees and regular breathing again instantly. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why I'm still in Dubai, but why I almost considered leaving this place. Now, one thing I always notice about people talking about Dubai is that you have the people that are completely for Dubai and you have the people that are completely against it. I haven't been able to find anyone as of yet who is more in the middle of just being neutral when it comes down to this specific place and living here. You know, everyone talks about Dubai as the place for low taxes, as the place for business connections, as the place that is kind of the Miami, but then of the Middle East and the closest one to Europe. Well, in Europe, maybe it being Monaco, but one of the closest regions towards where you can find most of the freedom that the previous European Union countries had. And you see, for me, honestly, like I wanted 3 things when I was looking to move to a place. I wanted sunlight every single day. I wanted a place that's fully maxed out when it comes down to the systems that it has. And I wanted silence. And now I got all of these things, but I didn't get them without a trade-off, which I will tell you a little bit more about in just a second. A year and a half ago, I decided to move to this place with one of my best friends and also the CMO in my business for success, Kaho, who is also working with me in, the same apartment building that we're also living in. And the year and a half ago, when we decided to pretty much move to this place, we were both looking for everything that we can do to monk mode our entire season of being productive and moving to a place where we can do that effectively. You see, we come from the east of the Netherlands. And if you know anything about the Netherlands, and specifically the east of the Netherlands, there's a lot of greenery, there's a lot of nature, but there's also not the same mentality as in a big city. And what I mean with a big city is that people are always moving forward, at least in most big cities. So we were looking for that edge. We were looking for the place where we as entrepreneurs can go to and just max out our own productivity, max out our own performance, max out our own systems, and be inspired to work every single day. Wake up and see for yourself the growth that a city is doing, because people don't lie when they say your environment truly does impact the results in your personal life and in your business life. And with that transition a year and a half ago and being here, I always get the question of people, whether I'm talking with them on a Zoom call or whether I'm, going out or just connecting with people overall. Stefan, how are you finding Dubai? What do you think of Dubai? What are your insights on Dubai? I always looked at maybe moving to Dubai. What are your thoughts and what is your opinion about it? Well, I thought, why not have me just summarize all of the pros and all of the cons on Dubai to share with you a true insight on what I think it feels like, it looks like, and what it could also potentially feel and look like for yourself, considering if you want to move here or even just go here for a week or a month to become more productive. So that's why I have noted down a full list of my pros and cons, which I'm going to be taking you through right now, so you have a good understanding of whether Dubai could be the place for you or might not be the place for you to go if you're looking for any specific goal that you want to reach as a business owner or as just someone in general who wants to live a better life. So let me start with the pro number 1, and that is discipline by design. So what do I mean with discipline by design? Well, if you think about discipline, if you go in Europe or any other country where I used to live, you have gyms, right? You have saunas, you have steam rooms, but you have them further away from you, right? You need to go travel to it, you need to go drive to it, you need to go maybe bike to it, whatever. Here in Dubai, by default, so by design, every apartment has a gym. Our apartment has even a sauna and a steam room and a pool at the top. So you can imagine those 4 things are at the palm of our hands. I don't need to go any way further than just staying here and doing the gym, swimming in a pool, going to take a sauna, taking a steam room. Like, it's pretty much here. I go up 2 floors, I have a sauna, I have a steam room. I go up 3 floors, I have a pool, I have the sun, right? Now, discipline is of course a little bit different when it comes down to the sun, but it makes it easier for you to be disciplined, because when it's close to you, you'd much rather go to it. When there's a barrier of resistance, like for example, having to drive, your discipline needs to be higher in order for you to go. So while it might train your discipline that you need to go, for me as someone who loves the gym, who loves to go to the pool, who loves to go to the sauna, my job is made a lot easier. So I can stay disciplined way easier without me having that friction of having to go somewhere or having to get a cab or an Uber or a whatever thing pretty much to go to that specific place. And then the best thing of all, in my opinion, and people always hear me talking about this as if it's like life-changing, I think it is, you get the sunlight at 7 a.m. fully in your face, it hits you, and you pretty much, it's like God slapping you into productivity. It's like, just wake up and you go into that mode of just having sun every single day, having the sun every single day, having the steam room, having the gym, having the pool. Do that every single day. You're already miles ahead of all the people in terms of performance in any place that you can ever find. And me being someone who loves structure, me being someone who loves such good structure when it comes down to also the design of it gives me a no-brainer to eventually stay here for a longer time, because there's consistency. There's always sun. There's no rain like in the Netherlands. If you're used to the Netherlands like myself, there's always rain. I don't like that, or it's cloudy. Here, it's stable and it's consistent. A big pro in my book. Pro number 2 is logistics heaven. So what do I mean with logistics heaven? Do you need something from Amazon? Yeah. Order today, it comes today. Do you need a curtain placed? Yeah. Call today, fix today. You need a new microphone? Call today, order today, taken today, brought today and delivered today. It's just insane how good the infrastructure is when it comes down to logistics. I probably haven't seen a place as good as here when it comes down to deliveries. That being said, I also haven't seen a place where you can order food at midnight and it comes within 10 minutes. I have never seen something like that in my life. Now, as I said, I come from the east side of the Netherlands, but a lot of friends of mine are from Amsterdam, bigger cities. They've seen these bigger cities and they know how it is. And I've been in a lot of big cities as well as myself. Still, never ever in Europe, maybe in the US it's different, but never in Europe have I seen such maxed out efficiency when it comes down to logistics like here. One of the biggest cons to Europe, in my opinion, is that you will be getting errors like your package is arriving and it's never arriving, because I ordered things in the Netherlands and it took like almost 6 weeks to come. I ordered it here, the same product, and it comes the same week. Right? So it's just insane. If you need anything, it's here. Midnight orderings, it comes immediately. One of the biggest pros next to the discipline by design in Dubai. And then let me touch upon the energy of the place. Now, there is constructions everywhere in Dubai. There's things being built, there's houses being built, there's skyscrapers being built, there's new Burj Khalifas being built, the Burj Azizi is being built, everything is being built. Now, I don't see this as chaos. Some would see it as a con, a lot of things being built. I see it as growth. When I look at it, I see cranes instead of crows. I see movement. I see development. I see growth. I see potential of what can be. And when I also think about that the Sheikh built this from a desert, every single time you look at it, I'm looking at my window right now, this was all a desert, you feel that kind of anything is possible vibe. On top of that, him being an amazing leader inspires me to be a better leader and a CEO for my team members. I see that every single day. And when I look at, as I said, I don't want to make this a politic type video, but when I look at the EU and the state of the EU and the state of the entire system, and I compare that to what's happening here, I cannot help but think to myself, why don't more people, why wouldn't people want to be in a place like this? Now, there are cons, as I said, I will share them with you. But from a business perspective, I honestly cannot fathom why someone wouldn't want to be in a place similar to this. And that also goes into the next point that I have, which is it's clean, it's efficient, and it's safe. And honestly, this place, it's so clean because it's being cleaned every single day. It makes Germany look like a frat house. It makes the Netherlands look like a dorm room. It makes other places look like they're messy, dirty, and comparing it to this, it doesn't fall in line. It's just way up ahead here compared to all the countries that I'm used to in Europe. Same thing goes for the safety of women. Now, this could be a debatable topic because a lot of people have a different stance on this. In my opinion, it's very, very safe for women here. And they can also pretty much take like an Uber at 1 a.m., at 2 a.m. and not worry about anything. Just enjoy midnight, whatever, and still be okay. Now, is it a big city with some like potential risks to specific people? Yes, but that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It entails the, risks for both. So whether you're playing within the rules, it's a safer place compared to any other place that I could have found in Europe. Now, another big pro that I noticed here, and of course, course, one of the reasons why I also left is because of the 0% tax and the strategic freedom that there is here. Here, you are stimulated to run a business. When I run my business, I'm expecting to keep all of the profits because I put 100% of the effort in. I want to get 100% out when it comes down to what I earn for my business. Now, when a government tells you that you need to give almost 50% of your income to them because they want to fund wars, because they want to do all kinds of different things with it, then I don't stand behind that. And that also motivated me to go here and pay, somewhat of a tax. There's corporate tax, kind of, but the freedom and the structure it gives you as a founder, it's huge. I cannot put any words to it. Now, also here, you can have the freedom to, for example, if you have kids, homeschool them legally, travel and live global. And that's, in my opinion, freedom. That's, in my opinion, how it should have been in Europe, and not taxing the hard workers that are earning the most and then squeezing every little cent that they have out of them just to fund things that they don't even stand behind or don't even have a saying in. Now, I could talk about this, and this might be a separate video that I might make if you guys find it interesting, but for me, it's just logical when it comes down to being an entrepreneur and wanting to be the best version of yourself and get the maximum out of your business. It just makes sense. Now, another point that I also wanted to bring up as one of the final pros, and there's a lot more, but these are like my main ones, is that people say that there's no nature. And in my opinion, when it comes down to nature, I'm not a big fan of too many trees and too many nature and whatever in that sense. But for me, what was really important when coming here is that I had some sort of access to nature. Now, whilst there's no natural trees or big mountains other than the canyons here, there is sea, there are beaches. And while some might argue that it's artificial or whatever they want to call it, in my opinion, it's beautiful, it's amazing. I can go to the beach, it's 4 minutes from me, and the sea clears my head like a detox. I feel reborn every single time that I go there, and I usually go there in the weekend, get a football, play a little bit of a ball, and just enjoy life. And for me, that's enough. For me, that's good to go. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the desert and plants being planted here artificially, since it still gives you that vibe, right, of Europe. Not as much, of course, as Europe, which makes sense because it's a desert, but still to a degree, it gives you the vibe of almost being on a vacation, which could be indirectly linked to not working, but it actually stimulates me to work more for some reason. I get the sun, I get the beach, I get all of these productivity things that I usually wouldn't have in the Netherlands, especially in the east of the Netherlands. West of the Netherlands is different, but I wouldn't go for a swim in the Netherlands, which is weird when you go for a swim in the Netherlands. Here, I can do that every single weekend, and it helps me because I'm someone who also has been suffering for, I would say almost my entire life with allergies, and it's helped me a lot to lower that because of it not being nature. So I guess I see it kind of in a different way, but I mean, it's for me a pro considering all of the things that it can give me without the harm and the cons that it gave me in the Netherlands. Now, so whilst there are a lot of pros, there's also a lot of cons. I have to be honest with you. So there's a lot of things that, people say and people do when it comes down to this place. But there are a few of myself as well that I need to be honest with you about. So the air quality, it's a nightmare for the nasal passage. I'm going to be very honest with you. You open up the window, I become an allergy monster. I still sneeze often. I have 2 purifiers. I have dehumidifiers. I have humidifiers. I have saline sprays. I have what I call the Dubai starter pack, because without it, you cannot live. Now, there's an AC above me here, and that also brings me to con number 2, which, in my opinion, summers aren't the problem. It's not a problem of the heat. People think it becomes super heated here, but it's quite okay. There's lower humidity outside. There's winds. So when it's 42 degrees Celsius, which is 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it feels I would say half of it. It's just tougher to breathe, but it's not as tough as the European summers where it's 30 degrees and you cannot even breathe. So in my opinion, the AC, it's pretty much the root cause, all of these things. So the air quality combined to you not being able to open windows in the summer because there's smog and fog that comes down in the summer, which is just the natural tendencies of this place. The AC brings in a lot of more problems because your throat honestly feels like a desert, no pun intended. Feels like the desert, like Sahara. But with that in mind, you cannot really escape the heat. So you go from air conditioning to Uber that's air conditioned, to a mall that's air conditioned, to a house that's air conditioned, to just being in an air conditioned area, right? So that's just something to keep in mind regarding the air quality, which is why a lot of people have actually moved from this place back to Europe just because of the air quality. Now, East, the Netherlands, is a very good air quality area. And I can imagine why some people prefer prefer that over this because it's pretty unhealthy, right? And I can also imagine for people staying here longer times, longer years, which my eventual goal is not, which I'll come back to in a second. It's honestly something that I would take into consideration when coming here, and something you will definitely notice, especially if you're a sensitive person to allergies and symptoms and all those things like myself. So just something to keep in mind. Now, another con that I've also noticed is like a mindset mismatch. And what I mean with this is you will meet a lot of performers, but also a lot of pretenders. Let me explain what I mean with that. So you will meet amazing builders. You will build a lot of connections, but you will also connect with guys or people who earned their first 5K a month or their first 5K with business, booked a trip to Dubai, rent a McLaren or a Lamborghini, which we see a lot of here, and they cannot even hold eye contact, or they're just ego driven and ego tripping as much as someone who has never earned anything in their life. Now, not that I honestly meet that many of them because I'm always focused on working and just outperforming, myself every single day. But I just see a lot of like egos walking around here because it kind of became the hotspot over the past couple of years to go and flex and show how much you got type of thing. But in my book, always the quietest people will always be the people who have the most, and you won't see those people on the front screen. Now, in the ego talkings, once I was going to my sauna to pretty much like up 2 floors, and there I met a psychologist, and this psychologist was telling me how he pretty much had 90% of his clients here in Dubai who are expats from European countries come with one specific issue towards him. And listen to this. The biggest problem they struggled with is that they had a superiority complex. What I mean with a superiority complex is that they pretty much felt that they were superior to all the other expats that are living in Dubai. Those are the, let's say, Philippine people, Indian people, Pakistani people, and they had this superiority complex towards his people. Now, in my opinion, I don't have anything regarding that. I see every human being as equal. That's how I've been raised, pretty much. But 90% of his clients struggle because they compare themselves to the guy also with the 6 Rolexes in the elevator. They compare themselves to the high ego people. They create this superiority complex, which comes indirectly from them from living here for so many years. And I can understand that, and I can see that, and I experience that here with the people that I see. For myself, it's a different story, but for them, I notice it. So that's something to keep in mind when coming here, that there's ego, which is normal because a luxury place, you will get that type of behavior. You will get that sort of entitled behavior. It's normal, it's standard, but it's just something you got to be aware of, considering if you want to come here for a business, that's something that's also, in my opinion, a little bit of a con when it comes down to growing your business, unless you're like me, just working mainly and doing your thing on a daily basis. Now, talking about egos, the social life here and the network events are just big flexing pods. So it's hard to find a real community. It's really hard. Whilst in, I would say, Eastern Europe, where I'm originally from, it's way easier, right? In Europe, it's also the same, but in Eastern Europe, it's more easily done. Now, people stay, let's say 6 to 18 months, you build a friend group and most of them are gone. A lot of people just come here because they pretty much just want to earn their money with 0 tax, buy a vacation house somewhere in the Mediterranean area, or go back to their home country with a lot more cash flow and then just live there. That's the final goal of people that come here. They come here, cash in, go out. Come here, cash in, go out. Is that my goal as well? Yes. I come here, cash in, go out. That's my eventual goal. That's what I see. That's where I come from. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? No, but if you want to build a community, it's a different type of vibe that you will get here. One of the smaller cons that I would say also something that I'm aware of, and you should be too. There's also a lot of tax confusion. Now, whilst you do pay, they say, 9% corporate tax, if you ask 3 accountants about it, you're going to get 5 answers. What I mean with that is that there's no clear law structure set up regarding that. It's pretty vague. It's pretty out of the ordinary. Same goes for your corporate taxing. If you want to not have to pay tax or as much tax as you would do in Europe, only the 9% corporate, you would have to stay for 90 days minimum here to get a tax certificate. Or do you? Like, you can also be here longer. And how long do you actually need to stay? Well, as I said, if you talk with different accountants, you'll get different advices. From what I've seen, they're very loose when it comes down to these rules. But it's good to find an accountant that knows what they're talking about, so you're at least safe with those things. I found mine. Still, the rules are very vague, but there's at least some concrete, answers you can find if you have the right one. But it's just tough to do it. That's just the name of the game here. It's different than in Europe. So where you pay 45% on your income, that's it. You get letters, that's it. Here, loose end, which is good, but also a con if you want to have structure on knowing what you need to pay. Bottom line. Now, I was talking about like the constructions, right? Things being built all the time. Whilst it's growth, and movement. There's also a downside to it because it's the noise you cannot see. Construction all the time. And also one thing to keep in mind, you're gonna hear drills and alarms might go off regardless of where you're living, especially if you're living in an area like where I'm living. It's called JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle. And in JVC, there's a lot of things being built. So there's a lot of dust that goes up. Now that dust creates a specific thing in the air, and that causes, in some cases, alarms to go off. When alarms go off, you can imagine when you sleep and an alarm goes off, it messes up with your sleep. Now, does it happen every single day? No. Does it happen everywhere? No, just in highly construction spaces like JVC. But is it something detrimental? Not necessarily, but it's again something to keep in mind. So all of these cons that I'm saying, they're not that big for me personally to want to not stay here, which is why I almost left but didn't leave, if that makes sense. And another con that, as I said, a lot of people are, mentioning is the lack of nature and the grounding. Now, whilst I don't really like the nature in the Netherlands, right? Because I have extreme allergies. I've had extreme allergies and it messes up with me. So I cannot go outside. So I'm sitting inside. So it comes down to the same thing. There's no green, like no real green here. There's no place for grounding. There's no place for me to go out and just walk through normal grass, unless I go to a football field or whatever. So you kind of miss walking barefoot in grass other than sand at the beach. And almost like the dogs also even wear shoes here because of the heat being so high in the summer periods. Now, that's a small con for me, as I said, because I don't really need it. I have all these other things. But all places have pros and cons. Considering the cons, considering the pros, for me personally, the pros far way out the cons, in my opinion. So to be very, very clear with you, you will love Dubai, like myself, if you want productivity, if you want structure, if you want sunshine. If you want those things and you're disciplined, you're focused, and you don't need any nightclubs or clubs or anything, by the way, that's also here, but if you really don't want it, this is the place for you. And where you can create your own community if you'd like, because they are open for people making their own communities, right? Then it's the place for you. But it's not the place for you, and it might drain you out if you're social first and extroverted, right? To some degree, it might drain you out. It might also be good. And also if you need the nature to regulate your emotions, or, it might drain you if you also compare yourself to others easily. If you do that, it might honestly just put you down, because the level here is so high that if you come here and you start comparing yourself to other people, you'll get demotivated in a single day, because there's so much more than what you have, right? Unless you're a multi-billionaire, then it's a different story. If you're not, then, or self-made like I myself am, then it's a different story. So Dubai is I would call it like a performance enhancing drug for builders. But not everyone should get that drug. That's just my take on it, okay? So that's pretty much how I see it. So my final take on Dubai, and honestly, if you honestly want to go here and see for yourself, I would recommend just going for a week. Go in a summer period, or maybe a little bit later if you don't like the heat. See how it is for yourself. Experience it. Go to the JBR area. Go to the Marina area. Go to the, JVC area where I am. Go to Business Bay downtown, where it's a lot busier, I need to say. Go to different areas. Maiden 1 is also a really good area. Go look at that. See for yourself what you think of it. Because as I said, some people will be here, some people will be here. Now for me, will I stay? For now, yes. Long term, we'll see. We'll see where I will be. But for now, I cannot be more than grateful than everything that is pretty much here, because honestly, I also know that the desert teaches you to stay light on your feet, right? And what I mean with that is me being light on my feet is that I can, wherever I go, I will be comfortable. Because if you make it comfortable from the inside, it's good. It doesn't matter if you're in a first, second, third world country. For me, it's all good. If you can make it good for yourself inside, you're gonna be good. Now, of course, there are some ifs and ands with that, but that's just how I see things. So I want to invite you to let me know. Comment below, based on this, what you've heard and what you heard me say. Would you live in Dubai? Would you visit Dubai? Or would you say it's too much heat and maybe ego for you to go here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. Now, if you want to see how I run a high performance business in Dubai and from Dubai, probably will be doing that in the next couple of years as well, without any burnouts or anything like that, due to the heat or due to the egos being here, then subscribe to this channel or DM me on Instagram, where you can find my Instagram down below in the description. description with the word Dubai, and I'll be happily, giving you any form of advice if you'd like. And if you're considering going for a weekend or week, I'm happy to give you any tips about it, because I've had so many people send me messages about where they can go when they visit Dubai or what they can do. So with that being said, I hope this video gave you some insights. As I said, let me know down in the comments down below. Would you go to Dubai? Do you see yourself being here? Have you ever been here? And what were your thoughts? Have you lived here? Have you moved away? Let me know, and I look forward to hearing from you. Wish you an amazing day from sunny Dubai. Ciao.